And we back. Hey guys, welcome to my channel, Watch On Mouth Reviews. This is your boy James, where I am here to give my honest review while trying to watch my mouth. Not gonna happen in this video, but that's okay. We'll live to fight another day. Joining me as always is my co-host, Mrs. Best. Y'all say what's up to her.
Hello, beautiful humans. Thug Life. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, like the video, like the video, please.
That's yes, all. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel, y'all. I'm telling you, this is a hard thing to do when you ain't monetized on YouTube. The best y'all can do is please subscribe to my channel. Please like the video, get that algorithm going for me. All right. And then also, while you're subscribing to me and Mrs. Best, because remember, any reviews or recaps I don't cover on my channel, it's because we share those on her channel. We have Basketball Wives, Real Housewives of Miami. We're finishing up The Valley this week, and she's going to be picking up King's Court next month. So we are very excited, not that excited, but very excited if we can get the schedule together. So let me shout out to everyone who's in the chat with us. Shani, thank you for being first. I appreciate you. Hey, Kevin Reynolds, good to see you. All right. And then we have Naya in the chat. Hey, Naya. So good to see you, my love. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I'm so sorry this got to be rushed, y'all, but I got called in to work early. Rent is around the corner, so I got to keep going. So let me go ahead and get this. So the show opens up with Shamia. You know, there was a big concern last episode with her baby. It was very cold in her room. Her baby was very cold. And her baby has a very bad immune system where she can get sick very, very easily. So Shamia is at the hospital, or not at the doctor's appointment with her, because Shamia, when she got back from Grenada, she actually caught strep throat. So she wanted to make sure she did not give her baby that. She has her husband on FaceTime, and I'm going to do a little sidebar right quick. That is starting to annoy me. That is starting to annoy me that he is always on the phone not at the hospital with her. I think we've only seen him at the hospital one time on the show. I need him to do more. I need him to step up more. I get he creates HVACs for airports to make sure they have air conditioning.
If he don't show himself on the damn FaceTime episode after episode and show himself constantly with the baby, and then it's constantly being posted, he may as well be on the show. He acts like he got to be there constantly. This is not. There aren't any. Nobody else is married, so we won't really see him unless she's at home. It's stupid.
It is stupid, and then also, what also annoys me about them as well is this urgency to give him a son. And Shamia let it be known on the after show that, you know, and I think on this episode too, that they tried to actually go ahead and do with the surrogacy. However, the embryos did not take with this particular surrogate. So they have chosen to not move forward with her, which I kind of feel like is very harsh. I kind of feel like that process is not a guarantee at any time. So to discard someone who was willingly ready to put their body up to have your baby is absolutely crazy to me. I kind of feel like, well, damn, like you didn't give a lady a chance realistically. So I don't know. I'm starting not to like him, y'all. I don't know. It's something about him and this urgency she feels that she needs to give him a baby. Like her people pleasing is starting to get on my damn nerves. It really is. But luckily, the baby is fine. There's nothing going on. You know, the doctor checked for mucus. They say everything is going great. We want that baby to always be well and healthy. That baby has been through enough. Let her go out the rest of her life not getting sick at all, just being a healthy baby. Anything else you want to add to that, Mrs. Best?
No, I agreed with all of it. And Kevin, I love when Kevin Reynolds is here because Kevin Reynolds never take his foot off Shamia's neck. She is a disappointment, unfortunately, as a housewife. And I had high hopes for her, but I don't think this is for her.
Yeah, unfortunately, y'all, my support for Shamia and her being somebody I thought I would not go against no matter what has ended this episode. I am so sorry, Shamia. I tried, baby, but the way you showed up, I can't do you. I'm sorry. That is fucked up. I can't believe you're going to make me be on Portia's side of all things. Realistically, Shamia, come on. That's why I got to be on Portia's side. We'll get to that in a minute, y'all. So the next thing we're going to talk about is Phaedra. So her youngest son, Dylan, which is the one that scares me whenever they're in photos together, he is actually taking up a part in fashion, which I love that they showed him sewing. I was someone who learned how to sew at his age, and it is frowned upon for men to know how to do that. So I'm glad that Phaedra is not going with the stereotype, even though she comes from that Christian background, that very misogynistic background. She's allowing those boys to do what they want to do. And one thing I have to give Phaedra, even though I don't like Phaedra, Phaedra is a great mom. Phaedra is the mom that Black women need to show up as. A lot of times we don't get that. A lot of the times we don't get because there's no access for a lot of us Black people in general. A lot of the times women get pregnant young. A lot of the times they're just working the 9 to 5, surviving. They don't really have the access to have, you know, great standing careers where they can pour into their children. That's why when I see a Black mom pouring into their children, no matter what it is they want to do, I always commend it because I wasn't as fortunate. So I'm here to change the tables. And Phaedra is, as I told y'all last episode, Phaedra is a great testament of it's not over until God says it's over. Phaedra is back on Real Housewives of Atlanta when no one said that she would because of what happened with Candy. Phaedra has been able to get after show after show after show on Bravo, have one of the shows on Bravo win an Emmy because of her scene on the show. So I'm saying Phaedra is the revelation of it is not over until God says it's over. And she continues to pour into that, into her children. And that's what I love about Phaedra because to me, it's not always shown in this light. So I appreciate her for showing this. But to make a long story short, the Vault, which is a business she co-owns with another young lady, is having a fashion show for one of their investors, and they're going to showcase some of their personal pieces inside of the Vault. And she's going to use this opportunity to showcase her son's talent, which is a very smart move. Phaedra, you are very clever. I have to give it to you because that gets eyes seen on his photo line, not only from Real Housewives of Atlanta, but from the other marketing ventures who I'm sure were there in attendance. So, Mrs. Best, how do you feel about the scene with Phaedra? Uh-oh, did we lose Mrs.
My bad. No, that was me. My bad. I was muted and then I was washing chicken. I'm so sorry. But the scene with Phaedra, I loved. I thought it was positive. I thought it was positive as heck. People can feel how they want to feel about Phaedra, but it's important to have positive examples of not just Black parents, but single parents. There's so many single parents out there, and she is proof that you may have a bad divorce, you may go through it, but like James said, she does rise and she, continues to persevere. So I appreciated the scene with Phaedra, but Phaedra could have been a friend of. If you have nothing to talk about outside of your kids, what are we supposed to do, Fefe? I'm just saying.
Oh, that was a typo. That's her name on my channel, y'all. When that show come back, I'm gonna write that down. That is her name from now on. Thank you, Kevin Reynolds. I'm done with you, but thank you, Kevin Reynolds, for that. Giselle's name is Guzzle from now on, moving forward, the same way. That took me out. I was trying not to laugh when you were speaking. Girl, I almost died. Not Guzzle. I am done. But yes, like Mrs. Best said, I love how Phaedra pours into her because it's not seen with single mothers. It's just not. And a lot of times it's because they have to always show up in a way where they have to be both parents. They have to work. Sometimes I know a single mom who had 3 jobs and just could not find the time to pour into her children. And she says that's one of her biggest regrets because she had the money to do it, but she felt like taking them on trips and everything was the way for them to escape versus actually pouring into them in a way. So what do they want to do? Because she didn't even know. I have a friend who didn't even know her son. He wanted to do something. Was it prosthetic makeup or was it what is they call the silicone mask? He wanted to be I guess a creative makeup designer for movie sets or something like that. He wanted to do that. And she never knew because he never thought that she was interested because she was always busy. And she said that was one of her biggest regrets. And her son works at the company she works for now. And she kind of feels like she let him down. I remember she told me about that. And I said, it's not that you let him down, but understand you need to kind of help him direct. Now that you know what he want to do, you need to direct him to doing that, whether that's buying the makeup products for him and saying, hey, let's take a class together so you can maybe teach me what you want to know. You gotta, if you want to correct the mistake later in life, you got to put your best foot forward and invest in them now. If that's what you want, if that's really how you want to correct the situation, invest in it now because it's never too late. So for those single moms out there that feel like it's too late and that you can't pour into your children now that they're adults, that is not true. You still can show up for them even then. That's what you have to do. You need to invest in what they want to do, especially if you know what it is. And you know, and things are now accessible easily. We have Amazon now. We have lots of things versus when I was a kid, we didn't have all that shit. So now you can easily do things for kids now that are just accessible and doesn't cost as much money. But we're gonna move on from Phaedra. Is there anything else you want to add for Phaedra?
Who, me?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, good. All right. So y'all is killing me with this guzzle. I can't stop looking at that. So we move on to Kelly and this dramatic ass. Y'all, I can't. Okay, y'all, I like Kelly. I'm starting to like her, but I can't with this. I just cannot. But so Kelly is at her what she thought was going to be her final hearing for her divorce. So she gets to the courthouse. You know, they can't bring the cameras into the courthouse. 4 hours later, she's still not divorced. Her and her husband, the judge gave them, I believe it was maybe 3 hours to try to settle the divorce and move forward. But they could not agree onto the settlement. And then her husband ended up getting arrested because he actually has back child support. That was uncovered in the court. So you know what they do in the courthouse when they find something on you, they take your ass to jail. So he's now in jail. So Kelly goes back to the house and she's very distraught because she thought this was going to be the nail in the coffin. She's been going through this for 3 years. So it was definitely something where she's just overwhelmed. She's tired of it. Shamia comes over, and I guess Shamia was at the courthouse at one point for Kelly and say, you know, I thought that it would have been finalized. I thought you guys would have been done because she couldn't stay the whole time. And she goes, no, it's not. And Angela calls in the middle of their conversation and checks on Kelly and says, hey, how are you doing? And she tells Angela the divorce is still not final. So Angela tells her to keep her head up and, you know, things will work themselves out. And Shamia, after she hangs up the phone with Angela, she says, well, has Britt called you? And she goes, no, I have not heard from Britt since we left Grenada. And she goes, really? I thought that she would have, you know, definitely been the one to be here for you. And Kelly in her confessional says that she has always shown up for Britt. When things happened in Britt's life, she was there, whether if it was bringing her the IV when she was going through the King situation and things of that sort. And they play back the flashbacks of that. And then we heard about this whole glam squad thing, which we'll get to in a minute. But I felt like, yeah, Britt she looks grimy. She seems grimy. So I don't know how you thought she was going to show up for you. Britt don't even show up for her damn self. So that wasn't a big surprise to me. So Mrs. Best, were you surprised that Kelly now sees Britt for who she really is?
I think Kelly has always seen Brittany for who she is. I think that Kelly is somebody I go back and forth with because on one end, yes, you have showed up for your friends, but how good of a friend are you that you have to remind us that you've shown up for her?
That's true too.
Point that out. So I feel like Kelly and Britt are both very similar, but in different ways, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you. Britt comes off as a bitch that you just don't trust. She
exactly.
Whatever. She's very self-serving. So, you know, what I don't know what Kelly expected, but also just because you're going through a hard time doesn't magically like erase existing issues. So I don't know. I'm sick of it. Is she divorced today?
She's divorced today. Yeah, Shamia put that on Instagram that the divorce is actually finalized of today, but in that time it wasn't. So, no, you know who give me charade vibes is actually Britt, and I'm gonna get to that in a minute.
I know why.
do the courts actually solve problems, or no? They don't solve problems. They expect y'all to solve okay. So they expect Kelly and her husband to solve their issues, settle on something that they both agree on, and then the judge finalizes it by saying, okay, you guys mutually agree you're going to get this asset, he gets this, you get that, he gets this, you get that, he gets this, slams the gavel, signs it, the clerks at the county's office files it in your forms, and that's it. Boom, boom, boom. There it is. They cannot mutually agree.
Responsible to help solve it. Like, you have to also, they be real quick to charge your ass. But I do get why someone would ask that question, because it seems like whenever divorces that are public happen in Georgia, they take forever, especially if you don't agree on it. Like, for instance, the Mama June show that's on WeTV. I love that show. Been watching it. Pumpkin and her husband getting divorced. They had the quietest, fastest, most amicable divorce that they could have. But it's because they figured out everything outside of court. Because Georgia courts will tell you figure the shit out compared to California, where they'll put you in mediation. So
you have to put your mediation, and they will have actually a financial advisor come in and look at all the assets and ask you one by one, do you want to split them by? I went through it. So they ask you one by one, do you want to split things down the middle, or are you taking it, or are you taking it? Do you agree upon that? And then once you agree upon it, you would then have to sign a different form that says you agree that that person can have this asset, or that person can have this vehicle, or that person can have this ashtray, that person can have this china.
Literally. Because if they're divorcing, clearly these people can't get along. So just fucking mediate. So I do feel like the court.
I don't understand why they didn't get that in the first place. Because y'all obviously can't agree. So why don't y'all have a mediator or have a financial advisor who settles in divorce settlements come in and say, hey, what can y'all agree upon? Can y'all split it down the middle? They have counseling services like that. I don't understand why they didn't do that. That's so stupid. Sheree said, don't disrespect her, comparing her to broke. I feel like that's the pot calling the kettle black.
Sheree's also pretty broke.
I feel like that's like somebody calling me gay.
It's like,
okay, Ann. Like, Shana, come on, stop playing with me today. It's your birthday. I'm gonna go easy on you today, Shana. But come on now.
Shana do not like broke Edie. I want everybody to go to her channel. I be cracking up every time I see Shana's RHOA lives, because all you see is broke Edie. It's always a statement.
But no, that's one and the same. Her and Sheree's one and the same, perpetrating like hell.
I think Britt is worse though, because Sheree will talk crap and get in somebody's face. Britt, the type of bitches we saw that'll threaten to get a gun or call somebody.
Yeah.
So I do understand, like Sheree, if she got to be about it, she will. Britt is scary, and people can't respect that.
I agree. So if the Kelly has an event, a cooking event, she partnered with, I forgot the place, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get through this review, but she has a partnership with another company. One thing about Kelly got some endorsements, because I was texting Mrs. Bill, it's like Kelly got a lot of disposable money. For somebody who's going through all this bullshit she's going through on the show, she got a lot of money to waste. She really do. But Kelly,
she has a restaurant that tastes good and doesn't have bad reviews in the Atlanta metro area.
Kelly, I'm gonna get to your restaurant one day. When I get to Atlanta, I'm supposed to be going sometime this year.
OLG, All the Candies restaurant, the reviews.
Yeah, I ain't gonna say nothing on my channel. I'm not gonna. I love you, Candy, but yeah, it ain't good. But anyways, y'all. So she has a cooking event. Angela brings Charles, and Kelly takes this as an opportunity to go up against Charles in cooking one of her waffle recipes. She did the banana cream waffle, whatever that is. That's actually not a bad idea. I'm gonna start experimenting myself with making some waffles and stuff like that. Kelly, I see what you're doing. Because brunch is a huge thing now. I see what you're doing, Kelly. You ain't. She actually is very clever. I have to give it to Kelly. She is. So they're having a cook-off, and everyone's trying it. Everyone is giving Charles their praise. When Drew said, "Oh, this tastes just like my grandmama's over there on 75th and Waters and stuff," I was like, "Girl, Drew, shut up." But she has Drew, Phaedra, and Angela there because initially these were the three ladies that she felt that on the trip to Grenada she was getting more in tune with as far as getting to know them better. So she has them at her event. As they're trying the waffles and everything, I'm going to get to that in a second. I'm going to get to this in a second. I'm glad you brought that up. Let me get to that. As they're coming up, this man comes up to Angela and he says, "Angela, can I speak to you for a second?" And Angela goes, "Okay, do I know you from somewhere?" And he goes, "No. You don't know me, but I don't want to be on camera." And Angela is confused. And I'm like, "Why don't you want to be on camera? But you signed a consent form to be on camera." That doesn't make any sense to me, sir, because they wouldn't have shown your face if that was the case. But basically, he was saying that he knows her husband and that he's been at his restaurant and he was with someone else. And it was like, so you picked this moment on national TV to expose this man being at your restaurant with another woman. Okay. So Angela kind of brushes off. Charles don't hear because Charles too busy cooking. It's a gas stove. Charles trying to make sure he don't burn up these people's place. So Kelly is over there mingling with everybody, and this group of people that this young man was with, he happens to be, taking shots, and he gives Kelly a shot, and he raises a toast and says, something to the extent of, at least my name ain't Angela, and my husband is cheating. And Kelly was like, "Oh, no, you got to go, sir. We are not doing this here. You got to go." So everybody heard that, and you just see Phaedra's face. And I looked at Phaedra. So it's funny because I didn't see Angela's interview with Carlos yet. I didn't see it, but I had thought this. And let me take y'all back a few steps. So Phaedra gets in her car and calls Portia, Cynthia, and Britt, who are at Britt's house. And this is where we're going to go to Britt. So Britt has Cynthia and Portia at her house. And they're talking, and you see all of Britt's house. She says she's in the middle of a renovation. That house has been in the middle of a renovation since Britt got on the show. That house was in renovation then. It looked like ain't much changed since. And meanwhile, she got G-Wagons and Rolls Royces in her driveway, making sure she got them out the garage so that people could see she got money. And we talk about her and Sheree ain't the same people. But they not in the sense because Sheree had been driving. She just got her G-Wagon. Sheree just got her G-Wagon, y'all. But Sheree was driving that same Porsche since season 3 on season 10. So, yeah. Sheree, come on. But I'm just saying that was funny. So Phaedra gets in her car and calls Portia, Cynthia, and Britt and tells them about what happened, about how this man just exposed Angela and Charles and him being in a restaurant with another woman. And they're all shocked. Now, the reason why I also agree with DM Rock's statement and Angela that I think Phaedra paid that man too. Y'all remember how Marlo got on the show? If y'all don't, let me take it back for y'all. So Nene used to date Charles Grant. At the same time, Marlo was dating him too. So Nene confirmed this at the reunion that Phaedra seeked out Marlo to come on the show and confront Nene about dating Charles Grant, and she thought that they were going to have an issue with that. Phaedra was behind that. So it does not behoove me, and it's easy to believe now that Phaedra could have had a hand in this as well. But the problem is that Phaedra didn't do it herself. She had to have gotten somebody else to do it because the investigator said it was a man who paid him to come on the show and expose that. So I don't know what to believe, but I do believe that Phaedra had a part in it. I do, just based on that Marlo situation. It's not unlike her. So Mrs. Best, do you think that Phaedra had a hand in that, or do you think it was somebody else?
Yeah. Phaedra lied on her current best friend because they were having a little shifty. She didn't feel fully supported, and she lied on her friend and said that her friend tried to R-A-you-know-what-E her. So I wouldn't put anything past Phaedra, especially the way she read that man for filth on Traders. I feel like Phaedra would do that. You have to understand she's an attorney, doctor of mortuary science, has several different fucking brand deals and all these different things. So I'm pretty sure Phaedra has somebody that she can pay to do it. When she didn't have the money on Married to Medicine, she wrote them a check, and even they were baffled. So I think Phaedra got money, and true money is
absolutely
the show, the glam. So yeah, I agree with Kevin. Phaedra and the help of production, and that's probably why they want her back on the show, because production will probably be able to get Phaedra to do all of their dirty work.
Yeah,
she'll get to keep a job, she'll get to keep a check, and production can keep their show.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It does make sense. And if the rest of these women would do better and give more, then that wouldn't even matter, and maybe Phaedra wouldn't be here.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. And that's exactly what Phaedra was going to be somewhere. Bravo is not getting rid of Phaedra. They already made that very. Andy said he's not getting rid of Phaedra. So if Candy do decide to come back, she got to deal with it, because Phaedra's not going anywhere. And that's why I'm saying, now that Candy decided to leave on her own terms, they now have something to bargain with, because they wanted Phaedra back from the get-go. I don't think they even wanted to fire Phaedra that season. I think they wanted to keep her, but to lose Candy, they probably felt like that was the bigger fish. So that's why they kept it.
But now Candy's had a couple of failed shows on Bravo that had low ratings, had to be canceled. Then she had her SWV Escape show that did not go well either. And like you said, I think Bravo also did want Phaedra back. I don't think they wanted to get rid of her. I don't think they should have gotten rid of her. People have done worse and gotten to stay. But yeah, she's Candy's doing well though. She has her Broadway play is doing extremely well. She's being nominated for awards. She's got her group. Like Candy's doing well. She really doesn't need RHOA. And I think if she comes back, it would cause the women who are already perpetrating, trying to look like something they're not. They would just be trying to keep up with Candy because to them, Candy is the Joneses.
Here's the thing, Naya, because I'm gonna say it like this. Phaedra, as a Black woman, has found a way through being able to lie and use her law degree and her mindset to be inconspicuous to white people. And it's almost like being a monkey for them, but not necessarily being that for them. They know the value asset of Phaedra because of what the epitome of her lifestyle is. The fact that they know like the things that Angela Staten had alleged about her could be true and that her ways show it. They know what they have in Phaedra. That's why they never really got rid of her in the same sentiment that they got rid of Kenya. I think Kenya, to me, is more of like a star factor that kind of shows in lots of different realms, like Nene, like Portia, like, you know, so it's kind of like she's similar. So it's easy to replace her with getting Portia on the show or getting Nene back on the show if they ever so choose to do so, or getting someone. It's basically saying like Kenya is looked at as common. I really do. I think that's how, even though I don't think Kenya is common, I don't think she is at all. But to white people who don't understand elements of how different Black women show up, I feel like they feel that Kenya is common amongst them. We could easily get somebody that can go rat-a-tat-tat with other women, i.e. Portia is here and she's willing to do that even though she ain't did the shit yet. I think Phaedra is a different element to them because she's able to move sneakily into a group where they want her to do it, but she's able to do it where they're not suspicious of her. Like nobody was suspicious of If Phaedra really did do this, there weren't very many people reviewing the show that was suspicious that Phaedra could have had a hand in this, but Angela, until Angela said it. And I felt like I looked at Phaedra immediately. As soon as that man walked up, I looked at Phaedra. This got Phaedra written all over it, and I'm basing this on the past behavior of when Marlo came on the show. Because how Marlo came on the show was through Phaedra underhandedly, because we never knew that information until Nene put it out there. So that's why I'm saying Bravo knows what they're doing. That's why it's easy to have Phaedra, because Phaedra don't give. Phaedra doesn't give. Phaedra has not given since that fight in that hotel room, that pajama party. That was the last time I seen Phaedra actually give on Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I know why they have Phaedra here. I do. It's because she's inconspicuous. She can easily maneuver the drama on this show, get people on the show to spark up some type of drama like this scene here. I know why Bravo keeps Phaedra. I'm not stupid. And it's smart. It is. And Phaedra's getting money out of it, so it benefits her, and she gets her businesses exposed. She gets the funeral home exposed, her law office, the store, the other businesses. So it is definitely beneficial to her too, to do this, because they're not going to suspect her. So I see her coming back. I do. It might not be in the capacity of what she was, but I see her making an appearance. I do. Andy is the love of her and her boy. She is. Always. But I'm telling you, it's because they're able to get her to do things without it looking like her doing it. That's why they do it. Yep, absolutely. Bravo got rid of Kim because she was the highest paid of the current cast of Real Housewives of Atlanta. I believe she was the highest paid compared to the cast here. Absolutely. I do believe that, but I don't believe that's why they got rid of her. I don't think Bravo thinks that Kenya is expendable. I think they think she's expendable. They think Kenya is no different than anyone else on the show. I think that Bravo does not feel that Kenya brings anything really that special. And I feel like it was her beef with Portia and their back and forth banter over the past is why they asked both of them to come back. I do think it's that. I really do. Thank you for explaining because I couldn't see it. Kenya doesn't tap dance as well. She doesn't. And that's the thing. Kenya is hard to tame because Kenya sees what it really is. And sometimes Kenya's not going to acquiesce to everybody. Shout out to Bondi Blue because she uses that word a lot. And I love that she does that. She's not going to do that. It's never going to happen that way. So for me, I feel like to me, she's expendable just like anybody else. And a lot of people are like, well, why would Dr. Heavenly be on the show? Let me tell you something. Dr. Heavenly on a group full of, on a show full of doctors is the ignorance that they believe that Black people are, regardless of the title they carry. And Dr. Heavenly proves that fact. That's why they keep her there. She gets the drama going. She gets the ruffles feathered because a lot of people believe that Black people are the stereotypes that we are, even in the professional titles we carry, which is why I respect Dr. Jackie in a sense, not all the way, but in a sense, because she never lets that show unless it's the wrong thing being said. So, yeah. So we have to look at these elements, y'all. It's very stern, but we have to look at this element of how networks see us as people. Because how they see us as people is who gets the check and who doesn't. Mrs. Best, anything else you want to add? Because I'm going to move on. Because I'm over here talking too much. They did save money with that chop, absolutely, but they still had to pay her something. I don't think they fired her and then she didn't get no severance from this. I think she got a good check from this. But we'll see. She'll be able to tell. She'll tell her story. She has her own YouTube special. She let a lot of things out the bag. She has, but I don't think she's let everything out the bag, and I want her to do so. Moving on from there, we then go to the scene back with Cynthia, Portia, and Britt Edie. And they ask about Kelly, and the drama comes up with the Glam Squad and how Britt was like, she got mad that I would, we would have the same outfit on and I looked better than she did and everything like that. And Britt pleads to them that she was a good friend to Kelly and she was never a bad friend to her. And she's saying that she's all up on Shamia now, and she was telling Portia that Shamia really ain't no good friend to you, Portia. I have seen text messages that she has shown me. She was showing me, between you and your attorney about some private information. I've seen it. And Portia confirms that, well, it wasn't really her attorney, it was her therapist, which makes it even worse. So, Mrs. Best, before I go in, do you think Shamia shared those text messages?
I don't really believe much that comes out of Shamia's mouth or Portia's mouth. But with Kelly, she seems to back things up with receipts. So I do think that Shamia showed them some type of text message, the same way Shamia opened up to Angela about feeling a way about her friendship with Portia after their issue. And then when called out on it, acted like she had never opened up. So I absolutely think Shamia showed those text messages. I feel like behind the scenes, Shamia is quietly trying to take Portia down. But I also feel like Portia has been trying to do the same thing to Shamia. I feel like they have a friendship based on competition because of that beef that's going on between their mamas. But I'm sure Shamia seems to be looking. People pleasers often look to also be victims, also look to be the one that people feel empathy for. And it seems like Shamia is only willing to show the parts of her life that'll make people feel bad, where they can't say nothing bad about her, such as showing her kids who have medical issues. And when she's not showing that, she's a victim in Portia's friendship with her. But it's like, it takes two to tango. You could have left the friendship a long time ago, decades ago, because Portia hasn't changed. So I don't put nothing past it.
I don't put nothing past it either. And I do agree. I think she did show those text messages to Britt, because Portia said Britt had specific information that only the text messages would have revealed, unless Shamia just openly said it out her mouth. But I just think, for me, I think it might have been both. I think Shamia showed some text messages, and I think Shamia kind of opened up to Britt and Kelly. I think it was both of them about her friendship with Portia and how, the dynamics of them been. And it makes Portia take another step back from Shamia, which I feel like this time it's warranted. Other times I did not feel like that. I felt like Portia was definitely too harsh and tripping. But this time
But you got to watch your source too, because if you take a step back from Shamia, Portia should also take a huge step back from Britt, because Britt is telling her information about text messages that were shown to her only because she's mad at her friend. So had her and Kelly not gotten into it, Britt would have been kikiing right with Kelly. But Portia's emotionally impulsive, so she's not gonna see that, and she's just gonna attack Shamia.
Yeah, I do agree with that too, which is so unfortunate. But hey, it is what it is. So I'm gonna go ahead and move on, you guys, because I got to get going. I have 5 minutes. So the next thing we see is Phaedra's event. Phaedra is doing a black glove event where she's having everyone show up in black and with a glove and everything. I didn't like Shamia's dress. I didn't like Kelly's dress either. I thought Cynthia looked okay. I feel like I've seen that dress before on Cynthia. I just don't know where it was. I felt like Phaedra looked like she was about to bury somebody. So I was like, well, damn, Phaedra, you can't get out the funeral hat just once. But Phaedra's pretty much telling the ladies, because she got a call from Portia. Portia's not going to be here, which we'll share that in a minute. But she'll let the ladies know later on why Portia's not there. And she said that she's about to lock the door. She's waiting on Drew because Drew said that she's stuck in traffic. So Phaedra said, I'm going to lock the doors at about 7:15. So Drew better hurry up. So Drew is late. So Phaedra decided, hey, I'm going to lock the doors. And the fashion show goes on. Drew gets there and they tell Drew, hey, we're all locked out. We're not at the event. She goes, we're locked out? I told Phaedra that I had traffic. I sent her a picture and everything. So Drew's pissed, but Drew plays it off. And after a while, as the show goes on, Drew said, I can't, it's too hot in Atlanta. I can't be standing out here. Phaedra! And I'm looking at Drew, why are you knocking on? You know who she reminded me of, Mrs. Best? Do you remember Meredith Marks' event when Mary was
Salt Lake City when Mary was knocking on that damn window? I said, black people, show up on time. Don't be knocking on windows, interrupting the event in addition to showing up late. And Drew, stop being late. Your nigga is in the basement. Your babysitter is at home.
Right.
And Allison is there with a pitchfork, probably poking a doll that looked like Ralph. But you got help at home. Why are you always late? Drew is always late.
Do I look like I was looking for her? I don't like her. So, no, I did not see no sweet tea outside of no damn Drew. I wouldn't even know her if I saw her looking anyway.
Honestly, I did see Sweet Tea in the scene. I did see Sweet Tea. It was very, very quick. You could tell they just showed her. But I think Sweet Tea got played. Sweet Tea got what she got, though. She shouldn't have went on Married to Medicine knowing that her spouse's ex was there and then expected people to take her side. Like, you were only there because they was mad at you. But they should have put Sweet Tea on. If she had a chance on RHOA prior to Married to Medicine, it might have been better because she does match the age of the newer housewives, but child, they said they would.
This is me, Shana. I wouldn't even have left after 5-10 minutes. I'd have left after 2. I said, Phaedra, if you're not gonna open this door, I'm leaving. I'll see you next week. I'm not gonna play with Phaedra. It's too hot in Atlanta for that. No, I'm not gonna play. I'm gonna get in my car instead of Drew over there eating chicken off of random police officers' plate and shit. I was like, Drew, what the hell in the ghetto is going on here? How are you just gonna randomly eat a piece of chicken off of? Lord Jesus, black people can't take us nowhere. You can't take us nowhere because that shit was ignorant as hell. So
I'm surprised he shared. I don't share my shit.
I ain't sharing my shit either. I saw Bucky and still did not care. I didn't even see her. Shit, I didn't even hell. She was there too. Good job. But anyways, unless you talk about Sweet Tea. Now that I'm thinking about it. Nah, you talk about Sweet Tea because I'm thinking you talk about Shay Johnson. Yes, okay. I had to think about that for a minute. So after the show, the ladies then crowd around. I know I'm skipping the scene because I know this happened first, but I had to get the Drew shit out the way. So basically when Britt gets there, she hugs everybody and kind of gives Kelly the snub. She didn't go over hug Kelly, but she does speak. She goes, "Hi, Kelly." Kelly like, and Britt goes, "Hi, Kelly." Kelly's still ignoring her. She goes, "Oh, okay. So we doing that. Okay." And so they end up getting into it very heavily. And Britt brings up, the Glam Squad issue and how that's not the issue and everything like that. And how Kelly wants to be her. And Kelly just laughs. That is not this story. So a bunch of words got around. Kelly accused her of her and her roommate popping pills and stuff. And Britt throws out the abortion card. And I said, ugh. Ugh. Y'all, okay. Y'all about to hate me. Was it wrong? Yes. But Kelly started it. So whatever I let out the bag, oh well. Now, Kelly is going around saying it wasn't true. That after her twin, she ended up getting her tubes tied. So there was no way she could have had that. And so it was wrong, but at the same time, there are no rules in fighting. So whatever jab I throw out, you threw out one, I'm gonna throw out one back to you. So I was kind of feel like I'm not a Brit fan, like Kevin said, I'm not a Brit fan at all. But you can't throw out shit like that and think that someone's not gonna throw something back at you, and then you're gonna get mad and call her a hoe and all this kind of shit. It was like, but you did not have to go there with the pill popping thing. So Kelly, you was wrong. I'm sorry, you started it. So Brit just went to hell at this point. And so everyone's coming at Britt, talking about Britt, you shouldn't have said that. That was low. And I'm looking at them like, especially Pick Mia over there. Now I got to start calling her that because she didn't piss me off. It was like, so let me get this straight. And this is going back to, we see this all the time on Real Housewives franchise. We even saw this on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills when Dorit and Sutton were going at it, and she was calling Sutton an alcoholic. But the moment Sutton said, well, you broke, everybody wanted to be uproar. So Kelly can say that Britt pops pills, but Britt can't reveal alleged abortion. Y'all, come on. Y'all are, one does not equal, both are just as bad. Both are just as bad because you're calling somebody a drug addict versus someone who it's my body, my choice, as she said in the confessional. So both are just as bad, in my opinion. Now, I'm not a woman. This is why I have Mrs. Best here. So, Mrs. Best, how did you feel about that exchange? Do you think they were equally as wrong, or do you think Britt was more wrong, or do you think Kelly was more wrong? How do you feel?
I feel like they were equally wrong. Listen, abortions and stuff like that, yeah, maybe a topic about women. We don't really want men like making laws on stuff like that. But I think when it comes to the discussion, you said her pill popping husband, and she responded talking about the abortion. I get it. Yeah, Kelly started it by saying that, but Britt could have chose to say anything else since you know all of Kelly's tea. You could have said something about her husband and her situation instead of commenting on an abortion. But I also get the feeling that Britt would have put that out there anyway at some point. Right. But I think they're both wrong. Personally, get your own fucking glam, lazy bitch. That's how I feel. You can.
I feel like that too. I feel like, why is this a topic?
Temporarily, but if we're both on a show together, filming at the same time, having to use glam at the same time, it becomes a conflict of interest. That's why Drew or Portia are always early or late, because they're going through that right now with glam. So, I can understand Kelly not wanting the girl to like continue using the glam forever, but I think Kelly's just as shallow as Britt. I just think Kelly shows it differently than Britt. Kevin's right. There's no rules in war, but at the same time, you say something if I say something about your husband, say something about my husband.
That's not what she said, though. She didn't say, she said roommate, you and your roommate over here. She was accusing her with that.
Oh, with it.
Yes.
Well, if that's the case, then it is what it is. But
that's why I'm saying that's it wasn't about Britt's husband. It was, but she was coming directly at her, and I think the husband was collateral damage. That's why I said
it's always collateral damage. But if that's the case, like I think the beef is stupid. These girls clearly weren't friends. If you was really friends with somebody like that, you're not gonna flip out. You'd have a conversation like, how much longer are you gonna use my glam squad? It's becoming a problem with my scheduling, and see where you go from there. But they didn't do that. I don't care about the beef between these two women because they're both so new. They both haven't given much, and they're both kind of trash ass people, it seems, thus far. Because Kelly seemed messy and don't know when to be quiet, and she needs to fire her plastic surgeon for botching her face. And then Britt needs to get her teeth fixed, the bottom row. And I want her to get that surgery they do where they fix the deviated septum because she sounds nasally than I don't know what. But I don't really care. It sounds bad, you guys. I'm so sorry. I don't have like a bigger opinion, but
no, because this is not a big situation. That's why you don't have a big
opinion. It's like, okay, you called her and her husband a pill popper.
No, it's even beyond that. It's like this started because of some glam bullshit. Yes, it is weird for Britt to want to use her hairstylist, wardrobe stylist,
because Britt can't afford to,
and everything. And that's exactly my point.
And I feel like she's saying some sort of
put that out there, we wouldn't be in this right now. Kelly's making this weird, you guys, by not calling the shit out. Call it out. Just say, hey, if you need, I need them. I'm paying for them. So, no, you can't get no discount because you found them through me or whatever it is you're trying to do. You can't do it. This is my people. And if my people conform, I would fire all of them. That's how
I feel like Britt came on this show is very clear with the intention of grabbing money somehow. She couldn't get it by her come-ups and making relationships. So instead, she did it by suing the network for her own bad behavior.
She didn't even sue them. She sent them a summons. She didn't even. I'll cover that in another video. I just read the forms. She ain't suing them. She's saying depending on how I'm portrayed on the show, I will go forward with the lawsuit. Depending.
Okay, so that's even dumber to me. Yeah. The fact that you would even threaten a network with that. But I still feel the same way I feel about Britt. She wasn't prepared to come on this show. She came on this show to make new connections as well as to get money, which we could understand because we don't know her outside of this show other than being one of Rick Ross's many different bitches. So it's one of those things, but I don't care. I want the people who've been on this show. You talking about you were supposed to bring the peach juice back, Miss Portia. You ain't done shit. Shamia, you said you could have always been here. You ain't shown shit. Angela over here choosing to be selectively delusional and how she's moving with her husband. Phaedra brings nothing but handsome young men that she's raised well. Drew is an idiot with Ralph. I can't. I just cannot. I can't. Oh, James disappeared. He'll be back. He probably got noises in his background.
Yeah, because that damn man back with that fucking car. Oh, this annoyed me. You know, girl, it's somebody with a damn, them kids these days with them damn exhaust pipes and shit and revving his engine.
You sound like somebody, Uncle Fred.
I had to go yell at somebody about his motorcycle. I had to go yell at somebody. I'm like, hey, cut that shit off. Like, I can't look. I'm not for the noise. But anyways, y'all, the last thing we're gonna talk about, because I gotta go. I'm running late as it is. Last thing we're gonna talk about, Phaedra reveals that Portia is not there because her cousin Londi, and that was mentioned in the blogs, Londi had passed away. And when I saw Shamia's face, it was a couple of things. One, Portia didn't tell her, which is fucked up because I'm sure Shamia knew Londi as well. And that, it was definitely a hurt. And I just remember on the show, Portia's spinoff, I just remember how bad Portia treated that cousin because she went on the mama side. So it was kind of like, I fell for Londi, but I didn't know Londi was that young. I thought Londi and Portia were the same. Londi's only a year younger than me. So that is so sad that she had passed away. Such a beautiful young lady, such a vibrant spirit. Rest in peace, Londi. We, definitely wish her family well. We wish Portia well because that's sad to have had that kind of loss. But, rest in peace, Londi. I did like her on Portia's show. Anything else you want to add, Mrs. Best?
R.I.P. to Portia's loved one and condolences to the family. That's all I got. I'm ready for the season to be over, and I'm sorry that you've had to recap every episode.
This was some bullshit. I needed the content, and I got people here, so it was a win-win. But I thank you guys for being here. Let me hurry get my ass to work before they can, let me go. So I thank you guys for being here. I had a great time. Let me know what you think. Show me your comments. Let me know if y'all think Phaedra had something to do with that man showing up, because I really feel like it was her, just like Angela thinks it was her too. And let me know what y'all feel. I want to know your opinions, and let me know what you think about the cast and everything. And I will see y'all. Oh, thank you. We love you too, Naya. I will see you guys on my next recap. And thank you for being here. Have a good night, y'all.